Good morning. This is Norma Cowie, and I welcome you to my YouTube channel and Wednesday's Norma Talks. Now, first of all, it's already the 6th of January, and this is the first time I've got to speak to you with Norma Talks, and so I wanted to wish you a wonderful, wonderful 2021. Now, I am going to do something a little bit different. I'm kind of making this all about the new year, and I'm going to do some looking back at what I said. Hang on, where is this not coming up? I'm going to be looking at some things that I did, and I'm going to be experimenting for me, so please bear with me. Now, this was the reading that I got for December. Now, I want to point out a couple of things here. I don't want to spend a lot of time. Was both Justice and the High Priestess very much about decisions, and this is the worker. I'm through December, and then it got better in the sense, but always moving ahead. We've got the Six of Wands, the Knight of Wands back over here too. Movement here, moving ahead. Uncertainty. But also this Ace of Pentacles showing new things coming in, and the Death, which doesn't quite come through in my photograph, sorry, is that was the key at the end of December, which we just went through, which is like leaving behind. And if you remember, for those that watched, I saw in my crystal ball, it was like a castle being burnt down, and on the other side was green grass. And so that movement for December, I know I kept kind of keeping an eye on things, and there was a lot of movement, but it wasn't really a lot of discussion and lots of other things. Now I want to close that. I don't know how quite close. I'm going to close that. Will that close? No, I'm going to stop that share. Thank you. And I'm going to go into January, and I've got the cards in front of me, and I just want to bring this up. Hang on. What am I missing here? Oh, thank you for your patience, really. Yeah, this is what I got for January. And I know maybe I'm getting a little more specific in how I asked. I said, I want to know the conditions around the world for January. Now, I've got the cards sitting right here in front of me, so you can follow through a little bit. Basically, it starts off with this 10 of Pentacles. And the 10 of Pentacles to me is everything is available. Always the question is, because it is a communication, and if you look at the two people here, they're needing to communicate, and sometimes that's not a very good communication. So communications could be a little bit scrambled, but there's all sorts of opportunities here, and so we're beginning this year with that. But here we have the King of Cups. To me, is a person that doesn't really deal so much with the emotions, but pushes them down. So everyone's going to be feeling all sorts of things, but it's up in the air. They're just kind of riding everything. And the next, I know it sounds quick, but the next symbol here is really important, the moon. The moon is to me, an emotional card, but we always think very logically, and we don't realize it's emotional. It's one of those self-deception symbols, and it's like we're not really in touch. We're reacting, but we think we're correct. I found that was very interesting, is that whenever I received this symbol, I always felt I was right and I was correct. And so there's a lot in here about how things are kind of moving in the sense of where they are. A lot of repression of feeling, uncertainty. I just feel nothing's grounded in the beginning of the next few days, because we're already at the 6th. And now we're looking at the next symbol here, which shows again, just as December did, a shift. Now, what are the things about the Two of Wands? We've got here ideas that are very planted, and out here we're looking at newness. We're looking at the world. We're looking at all those things, and our ideas are not necessarily super grounded, but we're looking and exploring. And so there's going to be some exploration, but again, another but, the Queen of Swords, although appearing very friendly and very open and everything, is really protective and defensive in her own way, not in the usual defensive stand that we see a lot of, but it is part of, and one of the fits into the defensive symbology in the sense of the psychology of it all. So in the first part here, I just feel there's going to be a lot under that's not going to be known, a lot of things going underground, so to speak, a lot of emotionality and a lot of uncertainty, with reason trying to play a part. That's that Two of Wands. And then not so, let's take this up to around the middle of the month, but nothing really moving in any really direction. There's no movement cards here. It's all conjecture. It's all, what do we do? What do we do? Where are we going? Then what do we get next? As we leave kind of the middle part of January, Four of Pentacles, holding on to what is. It's kind of, I feel almost like the fingernails I don't have, grabbing hold and trying to hold on, trying to just squeeze everything out. And it's when, whenever we go to hold on too tight, nothing flows very well. Nothing really maneuvers easily. And consequently, when we come to the next symbol, which is the Lovers, which again goes with the moon in a way up here, because again, it's both of them are emotional cards. And consequently, what ends up happening here is a sense of confusion. So we're heading into, let's say, around the 20th of January with a lot of confusion going on. And again, no real movement until, I think it's after the 20th. I can't see it before. Anywhere between the 20th and probably the 24th. The Tower is always where something from the outside comes in, and this to me demolishes a lot. Whatever is going to go on in the middle part of January, I see this whole top part of that tower falling down, which is not what I usually see in people's readings. It can be a little bit, but this is pretty, it's going to be pretty, I want to say horrific, only in that it's going to be startling, because we're not going to be expecting it, except those of you that may have listened to this. I think my dates are pretty right on that, but again, one never knows, because futures can change very quickly. And that's what I always tell my clients, especially when people change their thinking. But I was looking kind of at the world. So the world here is going to get a big shock of some kind. And it's all about, I always love this symbology. Where does my eye go? Because all about the Tower is about letting go. Letting go, letting go, letting go. And because if we don't, we're not going anywhere too bright. It's if we let go and we rebuild and figure out what we're needing to figure out. And then from there, it's, how the old saying goes, is that no matter what happens, shake yourself off, get yourself back in the saddle and proceed again. And here we are down here as we're coming towards the end of January, where we're just moving ahead. And finally, we get an action symbol that is in our command. I just think this is going to be an unusual ride in January. And I just want to say, hold your hat, because you don't know quite what's coming. And I would be careful of deception in here. People are going to say, oh, this, that, or the other, but there may be a lot of deception. I find that particular symbol, that's about that subconscious wanting to believe something that isn't real. Yet we strive to move out from it, but it doesn't seem to work. But I am feeling optimistic, as I did with the death symbol. But you must remember, with the death symbol at the end of December, that one kind of, you might say, war, in the symbolism, the war is over, but we're moving into this long valley to get where we want to go. So we're in transition. And this is part of that transition. It's a plus because a lot of the conflict, the uncertainty that was going on, but now we're going ahead. And I just don't see clarity in here yet. I don't see the clarity I'd like to see. I think that we might be holding on to straws. You know how we pull on straws a little bit, but this Tower sitting here, with the combination of the emotional, I do often a lot of rearranging symbols. But when we look at the Higher Arcana cards, which is really the lesson, we've got number 6, the Tarot's number 13, sorry. And the moon is 18. So we're looking at confusion followed by breaking away, I can't talk this morning, sorry, distraction, which leads to be careful of where and what you're thinking about. So that's what I got for January. But we're not over yet. Back to me. Now, I'm just going to put these away. Now, what I do have my crystal ball here, and we'll see how we go on time, and I'll see what my crystal ball says. But I did have a request. Excuse me. I've been having trouble with my voice and nose this morning. I thought I was clear. Now, a friend phoned me up, a regular viewer of our show, and said, please tell us what this 2021 is about, and let us know what our personal years are. So I'm just switching, you might say, hats in the moment. So first of all, look at 2021. When you add 2021 to all together and come to the lowest number, it's a 5. Now, a 5-year is about scattered energy that scatters, ideas going in different directions, definitely not always grounded. We got to put this in context. A 4-year where we're coming out of is always about creating a new foundation, always about a lot of hard work and no visible sign of reward kind of thing. That's my basic tenet on a 4, which you will hear me say a little bit later. But now we're going into a 5. Now think of my hand, my fingers going in 5 different directions. That's what a 5 year is like. And always, even like a personal year on a 5, you have to know what your priorities are. You have to be able to put your energy in I'm going to say the right, in the circumstances that you want it to. So this is a scattery year anyway. Like just, I know I've listened, I'm not usually influenced too much what other people say, but one of the things I found that was consistent was chaos. They keep talking about chaos, especially from some astrology people. And a 5 is always a little chaotic because everything's scattered. It's moving out. It's this and that. And I know with my clients, I always say, know your priorities, because you're gonna have to say no. You can't do everything. You can't be everywhere. So really choose where you're going to put the direction of your energy. Now, the thing is, and I'm going to put another screen up. Man, I'm being brave here, aren't I? I'm going to scroll. Let's see how this works. And this one here. This is what I'm going to be reading from. So here we've got 2021 is a 5-year, a year of scattered energy going in different directions, not always being grounded. Now, to find your personal year, you add your birth month, your day of birthday, and 2021, which is a 5. So you might want to, if you've got a piece of paper close by, you can do some quick math as we go through here. If you're in a 1 year, you're into new beginnings. So be open for surprises or new ideas from yourself or others. This is about, when we get to the 9, the 1 makes even more sense, because I actually treat myself, the 9 and the 1 is the 2-year pattern almost as a 1. And so it tends to be new things, no doubt about it. Now, if you add it up to a 2, 2s are always about rebalancing. You've gone through your 8-year, your 9-year, your 1 year, and now you're at 2. And even if you've gone through the 9 and the 1, coming to a 2, there's a rebalancing that goes on. Now, so in other words, checking your priorities, checking what you're wanting to do, where your energy is, how your energy is working. I wrote in here also, if you do not let go what you needed to in your 9-year, which we haven't talked about yet, then often it returns to be dealt with. And because it's about just rebalancing everything so you can get on with things. 3. I love 3 personal years, mainly because I'm a traveler, which, by the way, I would have been planning to leaving to go to New Zealand right now if we could travel. So that's one of the things. But anyway, I'm not in a 3-year. Creative, travel, abundance, It's usually a good year. I'll say usually because sometimes there's other things around that make it that it's not the best, but you can't get too much better than a 3 because 3 is a creative number. Remember, I've talked about this before. You would not be here without a sperm, an egg, and your soul. 3. We need creativity to burst into that creative element. And so and also we found that when you have a mental and emotional balance, then you can be more creative. So there's a lot of things that goes with the 3 energy of creativity and the expression, which I just love 3 years. 4. We just come out of a 4 year, but for a personal 4 year, I had to change my verbiage a little bit because I really realized that 4s were a new foundation. But sometimes there's a frustration because what you want does not happen fast enough. And I used to feel that, it's one of those years you work and work and work at something and you don't get a visible sign of reward. And that's where the frustration comes in. You keep working away and, oh my goodness, like nose to the grindstone. When am I going to get there? And but you must always keep your goal in mind. You must keep your goal in mind in a 4 year. This is what you're working for. And if you don't have a long attention span, sometimes that can go by the wayside, and especially if you have a lot of scattering energy personally in your name or birth date. It's like, just keep on plugging. 4 years, you need to be a bit of a plugger. 5. Now, I want you to think of this in the relationship of 4, you're creating a new foundation. Worked hard, nose to the grindstone. No, and I used to say, no visible sign of reward. Poor me, boo-hoo-hoo. Then you come into a 5, same as this year. Now you're busy. You have too many things, too many ideas, too many things to be taken care of. So this is where, again, you know your priorities and stick with them. Don't get sidetracked. People come in to see me all the time and they have all this 5 energy running around. And I'll say, can you say no? And the majority of them say no, like no, or I'm better, or whatever. And I teach them a technique of how to say no, which I guess I'll mention quickly here. Basically, it's always checking inside if you really want to do it, because if you're a rescuer, you know what I mean? We have talked about that, but we can talk about it again another time. You are going to not say no because you're going to be feeling you need to help these people. But you need to help you first. You need to take care of you. And in a 5 year, when you've got it's like having a plate full and you're adding a vegetable or another thing to the plate, and it's too much. You're like, where do I go from here? So it's like you need to keep your priorities straight. You need to know how to say no. Look inside. And I have a technique, and this is the technique. Something comes up and you don't want to do it, but you don't want to say no. You say, I'm unable to do that right now. Right now means right now. And then when you get more comfortable with that, because you could change your mind a minute later, of course, you say, I'm unable to do that today. So you claim the whole day. And what you find is people go out and find somebody else to take care of whatever they need taken care of. Now, there's some things sometimes we just have a lot going on and there's a lot of things. So it's not about saying no. But I find many, many times people come to me and they don't know how to say no. Okay, from 5s, we go into a 6 year. Families, health, responsibilities. And basically, you do what needs to be done, but you need to do it slow and sure. The number 6 in an astrological term, well, in the way I learned it is a 6th house, which is family and work and sometimes health. I forget, it's quite a long time since I studied astrology. But you need to know how to approach things slowly and surely. And again, a little bit of keeping a balance. The number 6 is not quite in balance or does not keep all around. So that's one of the things just to know in a 6 year. I'm not going to say it's frustrating because it can be. I'm just saying, just go slow. Do what you got to do. Look after yourself. Look after yourself. Look after the family members. Look after friends, because often there's a health issue in there somewhere. Sometime. Okay, number 7. Now, this is where an interesting, you go internal. And often I find, in looking back, not only at my life, but other people's, This is where often they went back to school. They started learning a new hobby. They started meditating. They may have started following a new way of eating. Something new will begin, usually. Yeah. And I hope it does, because if you just keep following the same old routine, like the little mouse in the cage going round and round and round, that doesn't augur well for a little later. So you really need to begin to follow your inner guidance when you're in a 7-year. You need to learn to trust yourself. Again, something that I find a lot of people don't have. They don't trust themselves. 8. 8-year is a very interesting year. And it took me a long time to figure it out, because everyone was saying 8 was power. So, and I had to sit down and contemplate what is the power? Like, what is it? And then it kind of clicked. Basically, 8, if you draw an 8, you've got a top side and a bottom side that look basically similar. And when I draw an 8 for somebody, when they're coming in for consultation, I don't think about how I draw it, but I do look at how I draw it later. If it's a little top part and a bigger bottom part, shows they have no philosophy, or their philosophy is so small it's not having an impact on their physical world. In the 7, you need to create a philosophy. Actually, I don't have that written there, but here in an 8, you're balancing your philosophy into the physical world. So that means there's going to be some obstacles in some way in order for you to know this. Yeah, this is what we can overcome. This can be a very rewarding year, or not. And a lot of it has to do, are you living with your philosophy? Are you doing your philosophy? Are you creating your philosophy? Are you being who you can truly be? Because this is the year, this is your power year in a way. Yes, it can be, incredibly. This is a very successful year. I have made lots of money in a certain 8 years at different times, because things happened and it was wonderful. But then we're followed by a 9-year. The end of your 9-year cycle. Now, this year can be frustrating, especially in the beginning of the year, because you feel like you're in a fog. And the whole key to the 9-year is to let go. Remember, we looked at that tower symbol, and I said, do you let go? The important thing in the tower symbol is letting go, because then you're ready to embrace the new. You let go in order to make room for the newness, which will come next year. That's your 1 year, the beginning of a new cycle. So often in a 9-year, we feel very pushed and cramped, and we don't know what to do. It feels like it almost feels like we're being smothered, like, get me out of here. And this is about letting go. Now, what are we letting go? It can be beliefs, it can be attitudes, it can be circumstances, it can be relationships, of course. And sometimes it's just a matter of taking a big breath, as I just did, and allowing yourself just to stop. Now, stop that share and come back to me here, because it is, I find, actually, I'm stumbling over my words again. I apologize. I find that for myself, even knowing what year I am, sometimes in the middle of a year, something will happen and I'll go, oh yeah, I'm in this year or that year. And so I'll stop and make a sense of the direction of where I'm heading and what I'm doing. And so I'm in a 7-year this year, so lots of new things coming on into my life, I'm sure. A lot more introspection, a lot more awareness, a lot more, where am I going from here? And sometimes these things start even in the middle of December. You start feeling the pressure of the new year. It's not exactly bang on the 1st or bang to the 31st. We got to give it a little bit of leeway, but it is a sense of knowing. And so here we are going into the 6th day of this whole new year, and this month in particular. 6th day, it's gone fast to me, for sure. And I trust it will keep on. Lots of surprises, lots of unexpected things, perhaps lots of emotionality. And so it's just a matter of being able to sit quietly and recognize, oh, yeah, I can move through this. One of the things I know a little while ago, and I may have mentioned this, but I can't remember mentioning it. I was getting upset by some of the things that I was reading and seeing and hearing. And I have a way of being nudged from my guides sometimes, because I'm not paying attention. And I was reminded, Go into your observer mode. Don't take this on. This is bigger than, it's not like some little situation in your life. This is big. So just observe, observe and know. And most of all, have faith and trust in life. See, I truly believe that because we humans are loved, that our lovingness will provide, will support us. I mean, it has through all sorts of trials and tribulations that we know historically. And I find myself looking back even further to Atlantis and what happened there. But we humans survived. We're still here. And we will continue to be here no matter what happens, no matter what goes on, no matter what, whether we like it or not like it. So what can we be in command of? Ourselves. We can have inner peace. We can have more knowledge. We can have awareness. And we can live happily, even if it is restricted, even if we can't go where we want to go. That's chafing at times. But at the same point, we just accept. And through acceptance, we can decide how to change things. Always remember that. When you accept something 100%, when you accept it fully, you're free to make a decision. And I want your decision for yourself to be happy, to feel loved by the universe, by yourself, by those around you, to recognize and see that life is a wonderful expression. This is the first month of a new year. We don't know what this year is going to really bring. Some people say a lot of chaos and change. Well, that's expected. We even see that there'll be some, I even see that in this month, some deceit and uncertainty, followed by actions that we may not like, but we can stay firm in who we are and what we believe. There is a force in this universe that is there for you. Use it. Welcome it in. Feel the love of that. Feel the strength of that. And when we do forget, like I'm like everybody else, I can get caught up in things. Breathe and remember who you truly are and that you are loved. Thank you for listening. And I also want to say hi to the new people that subscribed this last week. I sincerely appreciate that. I just appreciate the comments, especially the nice ones. I appreciate the likes, shares, etc. And remember, you can always contact me through my website, normacowie.com. Blessings to you all.